Alright guys, I'm going to start with a 60% hydration pizza dough you can make at home. Perfect for the home oven. It starts with the water, which really starts with the scale, to be honest. You're going to want to have a digital scale, so you can scale out your half a gram of yeast, 10 grams of sugar, 10 grams of salt, 10 grams of oil. Now we move on to weighing out our water and our flour. So 300 grams of water, on the spot, nice. I'm going to add in my yeast and my sugar. Got a little stir just so I get hydrated. That's fine. And now I'm going to add 500 grams of flour. I do it this way because if I pour too much water at the beginning, I can always pour some out. And if I pour too much flour here, which I didn't, I can always scoop it out and get it back into the bag. Once I have all my flour in, just make kind of a layer. I'm just going to add all my salt. And I'm going to keep my oil to the side for now. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use my little scraper tool. You can get these at Walmart, that's where I got mine, but it's a dough bowl scraper. Just going to kind of move it around. I want the flour and water to really mix first. Before I add in my oil. So this is a good point where I can add my oil in. I want to try to do a good job to disperse it all the way around the whole dough. Alright. Alright, cool. Once I get to a point where it's somewhat mixed together, basically begin the kneading process. So, your hand kneading, you can basically drop it onto the table, even if it's still kind of shaggy. Try to get most of everything out. Once again, your bowl scraper can come in handy for this. And if you're doing a low hydration dough like this at 60%, it takes a good bit of effort to get all that flour absorbed. So the mixing part takes a little longer. You get up to like 63, 64%. It doesn't take that long for the flour to get absorbed. But I like 60% dough, so that's what I'm going to do. So basically what I'm doing is with the palm of my hand, I'm pushing away, coming back, pushing again. You can see right now there's no real gluten development at all. So every time I do that, the dough kind of just breaks. But then I bring it back to myself, I turn it 90 degrees, and I do it again. So once again, what I'm doing is I'm starting with the side away from me, like the very far side. This portion I'm focused on stretching. I'm just pushing away, rolling back. Now this portion I'm focused on stretching. Come back, this portion, and on till you get that last portion. And if you got wet flour spots, try to absorb that dry flour as much as you can. And now that I'm at a mass like this where there's not so much dry flour all over the table and everything, look at the clock, it's 10:57, so at 10:05, 10:06 I'll be done. That's 8 minutes of kneading. I'm just going to kind of keep going. Sometimes I do this too, where I just roll it over, push it out. I'm grabbing kind of the side over here at like 2, 3 o'clock, pushing it down, going in, repeating it. And I give it a 90-degree turn as I do it. That's basically what kneading dough is, in its simplest form. Is trying to stretch the dough out to where it won't stretch anymore. Bringing it back. You're like testing its resistance. That's how you kind of build the gluten. It's really about just keeping it awake and agitating it. Oh look, you see how it's shaggy and wrinkly? Looks like an old man's ball sack. It's okay. I'm gonna now wait 3 minutes, just like this. This is where I usually clean out my bowl real quick. Alright, beautiful. So, let's have a little bit of time to rest. Since this dough is still low hydration, I don't really need that much. So I'm going to hit it with a little dusting flour just like that. I'm going to turn it over. I'm going to fold into itself. basically one rotation of this, so I get it all together. I like to squeeze it together and flip it. And what I'm doing here is I'm basically like, I'm not quite on the bottom of the dough, I'm like just a little bit before it. At 3 o'clock, if this is 12 o'clock, I'm going to go to 12 o'clock and pull back and repeat. And I want it to stick to the table basically as much as possible. And this builds tension on the surface of the dough. You can see it's getting more upright too. And what it also does is smooth out your dough. So you do that a few times. What I like to do as well, additionally, is I like to get my hands like 10 and 2 and have it stuck to the table. It's not really moving, it's slightly stuck. And just do small circles. Turn to 90 degrees, small circles. Both those things will smooth out your dough. So this dough is not perfect by any means, but for pizza, it'll work. And over the time of fermentation and everything, this will smooth out even more. So I'm gonna let that sit for about an hour. So at about midnight, it'll be done. About an hour or so, I'll ball that up. So that's how you make the dough. It's gonna get not a full doubling, but more of a bulk rest than bulk fermentation.